Today on Public Eye News, a car crash on Michigan 553 and the United Way of Marquette gives away face masks.
Later in the show, Megan Teresa will have your weather and Jesse Salson will give your sports for the day. I'm Devontae.
And I'm Scott Minshaw. Welcome to Public Eye News. A new affordable children's store had its grand opening in Gwynn on Saturday. The store, Model Tots, sells children's clothing, furniture, and other necessities. The manager said one of the goals of the store is to make these items affordable for everyone. She also said that most of their clothing items are not for sale for more than $3. Since all of the inventory they have is donated, it's easy for the store to keep their prices affordable and accessible to everyone. Over 20 years ago, the state of Michigan passed Alicia's Law, which harshens the penalty for cars who do not follow safety measures while driving near school buses. The law was passed in memory of Alicia Kitchen, a girl from Hancock who in 1989, at the age of 6, was struck by a car after exiting her school bus. The car, which did not follow the rules, left Alicia paralyzed from the neck down and would eventually claim her life over 30 years later. Alicia's mother, Diane, is now looking to take Alicia's Law nationally. She says the time to act is now before this issue worsens.
On Friday, Marinette County deputies shot and killed an armed murder suspect. Officers responded to a report about a possible murder and a suspect at a home. A man was found dead inside the home. As the officers arrived, the suspect drove away. Deputies chased after the suspect, and it is reported that the suspect stopped his car, got out, and pointed a firearm at the deputies. Deputies returned fire, and the suspect died before he could be transported to a hospital. No officers involved were injured. The deputies involved were placed on administrative leave during the investigation. One man passed away and a child is in a Lower Michigan hospital with severe injuries after a crash Friday evening on Michigan 553. The Marquette City Police Department responded to a two-car crash on Michigan 553 just south of the Marquette Mountain Ski Hill at 5:34 p.m. Friday. Officers say when they arrived on scene, they found one person dead and several others with severe injuries. Police reports say a 25-year-old Marquette man was ejected from the southbound vehicle and pronounced dead at the scene. The child involved was originally transported to UP Health System Marquette and then airlifted to Lower Michigan Hospital for further treatment. The 21-year-old woman driving the vehicle was arrested for operating while intoxicated. The incident remains under investigation and additional charges are expected to follow. Names have not been released through the ongoing investigation. Michigan 553 reopened after being closed for nearly 5 hours while police investigated the crash.
A community college in Ironwood has moved to online distance learning for the next 2 weeks after consultation with the Western Upper Peninsula Health Department. The online instruction is scheduled for October 26 through November 6. All courses, with the exception of several labs, will be moved to online distance learning. Courses at the college are set to return to in-person on Monday, November 9th. The college has instructed students that they can access the internet in any of the college parking lots over the distance learning period. On Saturday, the United Way of Marquette County handed out over 11,000 face masks at the Peninsula Medical Center. The reusable face masks, which were given out for free as part of the group's COVID-19 community response program, were available to any citizens of Marquette. The United Way of Marquette was joined by volunteers from the Big Brothers Big Sisters of America who helped to ensure the success of the event. If you missed the giveaway and are in need of face masks, contact the United Way of Marquette County office at 906-226-8171. After this break, we will have your national and international news.
I'm 14 years old.
20 years old.
I am 39 years old.
I'm 94. Turning 80 in a couple weeks. What do I have to lose?
I need someone my age. I need friends.
I'm just trying to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, well, I'm still going.
What role am I supposed to play in this big world?
Tonight at 9:30.
Large parts of California had no electricity Monday as utilities tried to prevent the chance of their equipment sparking wildfires. While the state is currently being hit with hurricane-like winds and dry weather, estimating that more than 1 million people were without power as warnings for what could be the strongest winds for California this year. Mount St. Helena weather station recorded a hurricane force gust of 89 miles per hour late Sunday and sustained winds of 76 miles per hour. Winds had calmed slightly by Monday morning but still topped 60 miles per hour. Officials extended a red flag extreme fire danger warning through 5 p.m. Tuesday for the region's eastern and northern mountainous areas. Scientists say climate change has made California much drier, meaning trees and other plants are more flammable. October and November are usually the worst months for fires, but this year has already seen 8,600 wildfires in the state that have destroyed about 9,200 homes, businesses, and other buildings. There have been 31 deaths. Early voting records are being shattered across the country as the presidential election heads into the final stretch. The two candidates not only differ on the key issues, but they differ on how they're handling the final 8 days of the campaign. WNMU reports from the White House.
President Trump downplayed coronavirus concerns to a packed crowd of supporters in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
We're rounding the turn. You know, all they want to talk about is COVID. By the way, on November 4th, you won't be hearing so much about it. COVID, 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 COVID.
This is the first of 3 rallies in Pennsylvania today, where he has some ground to make up. Polls show Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden with a 5-point lead.
We win Pennsylvania, we win the whole thing. You got to get out there.
While the president holds multiple rallies a day, Biden has had multiple days without a public campaign event, including today.
He's waved a white flag on life. He doesn't leave his basement.
I feel superstitious when I predict anything other than it's going to be a hard fight.
CBS Evening News anchor Norah O'Donnell asked the former vice president about the perceived lack of enthusiasm surrounding his campaign during an interview with 60 Minutes that aired last night.
Do you think there are a lot of people who are going to vote for you simply because you're not Donald Trump?
Well, I hope there's going to be a lot of people vote for him because of who I am, but I think the contrast between Donald Trump and me is about as stark as it can get.
Vice President Mike Pence is also very active on the campaign trail with several events today despite a second COVID outbreak at the White House involving his aides. The vice president's chief of staff, Mark Short, outside political advisor Marty Obst, and 3 additional aides recently tested positive for COVID-19. Mr. Pence's press secretary said while Vice President Pence is considered a close contact with Mr. Short, he will maintain his schedule because he is essential personnel. Bofta Imam, CBS News, the White House.
British Special Forces stormed an oil tanker in the English Channel over the weekend and arrested 7 men on suspicion of hijacking. The men believed to be from Nigeria were stowaways on the tanker and are thought to be seeking political asylum in the United Kingdom. Once the crew of the tanker discovered the stowaways, tensions grew increasingly and a 10-hour standoff began between the crew and the men. Eventually, the British commandos raided the ship and within minutes the men were arrested. Europe is imposing new COVID restrictions as a second wave accelerates. The continent is reporting a record number of cases as the virus keeps spreading around the world. CBS's Ian Lee reports from London.
With shouts of freedom, hundreds of Italians defy an 11 p.m. curfew in Naples. Angry over recent restrictions, the harshest since last spring's lockdown, the government hopes will crush this latest wave of coronavirus cases. France is also imposing tough measures as the country leads Europe in new daily infections. President Emmanuel Macron warns the virus could be around until next summer. 2 months ago, Russia declared victory over the coronavirus, promoting a government vaccine. But that seems premature now, as the nation is seeing record high cases. Even China, a model of combating the virus, is not immune. This week, the country detected 137 new cases in the West, leading to a regional lockdown. The UN Secretary General says the world must fight COVID together. He says basic precautions like wearing a mask not only save lives.
Protecting people from the virus is the best way to keep schools open and businesses running.
In London, scientists are going underground to see how regular cleaning helps stop the virus from spreading on public transportation. With the UK still battling a spike in cases, officials hope knowing more about COVID will help them to avoid another shutdown. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Public Defender Mallory Cole argued that Matthew Doloff's bond should be reduced, citing his deep ties to the community and his lack of a criminal record. She also indicated she would argue that Doloff was acting in self-defense when he shot and killed 49-year-old Lee Keltner while protecting a KUSA TV producer covering the Patriot Muster demonstration and Black Lives Matter Antifa Soup Drive counter-protest. Keltner slapped Doloff in the head, and Doloff pulled out a handgun and shot Keltner as Keltner fired pepper spray at him, according to an arrest affidavit. A cell phone video taken by KUSA's producer, whose name hasn't been released, suggests Keltner was upset his initial dispute was being recorded. Doloff faces between 16 and 48 years in prison if he's convicted of second-degree murder. A preliminary hearing has been scheduled for November 20th. And after this break, we'll be back with your weather and sports. Stay tuned.
Much more to be done in making the world a more even playing field.
We are not done.
We're not done reporting.
We're not done fighting for equity.
We're not done building a country that respects the dignity of all who reside here.
We are not done. We are far from done.
Tuesday night at 8.
Welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm Megan Tarcia here with your weather, and behind me we have record-breaking snowfall here in Marquette. Earliest snowfall in current conditions, current temperature is 33 degrees. Winds are northwest at 14 miles per hour. Our barometric pressure is 30.28 and rising. Looking into tonight's conditions, that is partly cloudy with a low of 21 degrees. Winds are west-southwest at 6 miles per hour. Looking into tomorrow's conditions, we have snow with a high of 37 degrees. Our winds are northwest at 13 miles per hour. Looking across the UP, starting in Sault Ste. Marie, it is 39 degrees, cloudy. In Manistee, it is 38 degrees. Escanaba, 37. Menominee, 38. Iron Mountain, 32. Ironwood, 28. Up in Houghton, it is 32. And here in Marquette, it is 33 and snowing. Looking into our weekly conditions, Wednesday is a high of 46 degrees and a low of 34. Partly cloudy with the possibility of rain. Thursday is a high of 37 degrees and a low of 28 and cloudy skies. And Friday is a high of 39 degrees and a low of 32 degrees, partly cloudy with light snow. And going to Jesse with our sports.
Thanks, Megan. This week in the NFL, the Browns wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. has announced that he will be out for the remainder of the season. Beckham had an MRI completed this morning on his left knee after tearing his ACL early in the Browns-Bengals game yesterday. Beckham's injury occurred with 8:21 remaining in the first quarter when his cleat got caught in the turf when trying to tackle Bengals cornerback Darius Phillips. Beckham went into the locker room to be checked out by medical personnel, and the Browns ruled him out for the remainder of the game early in the second quarter. The 27-year-old has endured multiple injuries throughout his 7-year NFL career. The Arizona Coyotes' top draft pick is an 18-year-old who has admitted to bullying an African-American classmate with disabilities. 4 years ago, Mitchell Miller admitted to bullying Isaiah Meyer-Crothers by tricking him into licking a push pop that Miller and another boy had wiped on a urinal. Meyer-Crothers had to be tested for hepatitis, HIV, and other STDs after the incident, according to a report made by police. Meyer-Crothers was shocked when he found out the boy who bullied him was picked to go to the NHL. The Coyotes organization is giving Miller a second chance to prove himself, and they hope he uses his platform to speak out against bullying and to bring awareness. Secret Deodorant has committed to donating $1 million to the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association to launch this year's Secret Dream Gap Tour. The mission of the two-day event in Toronto is to draw attention to the lack of opportunity and support for professional female hockey players. According to ESPN journalist Emily Kaplan, this is the largest corporate donation ever made for professional women's hockey in North America. The Women's Hockey Showcase will be comprised of 6 teams and roughly 120 female athletes from across North America. Four of the games will be held at Toronto's Herb Carnegie Arena, with 3 on Saturday and 1 Sunday morning. The final game will be announced at a later date.
I think it's great what this company is doing for women's sports. It's really nice to see someone sticking up and trying to get women the respect and stuff they deserve for being professional athletes.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. I feel like women in sports now, it's starting to I feel like people are opening their eyes up more, and women are just as talented as male athletes. So
Most
I think
definitely.
this is great, and great for the hockey community.
Most definitely, I totally agree, and I think it's an awesome change that's coming to happen really soon. But that's all the time we have for you today in Public Eye News. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you again tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.